Good afternoon, good afternoon. Yes, this is Spirit Journey, and I am streaming live. It is April 15th, 2019, and the time is 6:21 p.m. I see that we have a viewer right now, and I invite you to write in the chat and just say a hello so I can give you a hello back. I'm also looking at the stream. I see now that I have a good stream signal. The signal is now green. Let me know also, the person in the chat, let me know if you could hear my audio well. So let me begin. I was going to do a live stream regarding what I call the being targeted. And when I was setting up for this live stream, I had my computer on and I saw something that was happening in Paris. There is a fire happening in Paris, and I want to share that live stream. Let me see if I can get it right now. Okay, I'm just going through the list here. Let's see. Okay, just take me a moment. Okay.
Good evening. The blaze in Notre, as you can see, can be seen from all over Paris. It seems to have taken hold about an hour ago in the beams of the medieval cathedral, where €6 million worth of renovations were being undertaken. The flames have already consumed the iconic spire, which dates from the 12th century and is one of the defining landmarks of the French Republic. So the fire in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris seems to have taken hold in the cathedral's nave. It's reported there were extensive building works being carried out there. The beams in the nave appear to be the seat of the fire. There's no information yet as to what may actually have caused the fire. The area around the building has been cleared. Firefighters are tackling the blaze in what they have called...
Okay, I just want to get just a little bit. I'll turn off the audio on here, because what could happen that YouTube could block this portion of the video due to possible copyright infringement. So I'll just show the visual here. So hopefully they don't do anything, YouTube. So what you see now is the famous Notre Dame church. I don't know when actually it was built, but it was around at least the year 1200. It's one of the oldest landmarks of Europe. And they were doing renovations, as you heard, on the famous church. They even said that Napoleon became the, how do you say, like he became the emperor of France. He was anointed there at this same church. So it has a lot of history. And I think why I decided to show this is because, see, this is churches like this, these big landmarks, especially from Europe. It has a psychological component. Here, this is the old system. And now the old is being torn down. And here they were doing renovations on this famous church. And something happened. And then this is like Holy Week in the Catholic Church. So again, psychologically, this can put depression in people to make you feel vulnerable. Look at that. It's just all ablaze. Horrible. Okay, let me show something else now. Okay, I saw another video on the same subject. This one is live now. Okay, so now it's evening in Paris. It's like a 7-hour difference. So it's 6:27 p.m. New York time. So this could be maybe about 1 a.m. Their time. And as you see, it's very dark out there, and it looks like it's you don't see any flames. Okay, I see here on the lower left side of the screen, looks like water hoses that it's spraying on the church. Okay, so this is unfortunate of any landmark, but it's interesting how here this is Holy Week of the Catholic Church, and here a very famous church, and this is the same church that they did a movie on, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that which took place in Paris also, you know. So you have literature, French literature, on this church, and the things that happen in their literature and their culture. So I hope no individuals were hurt there. Okay, let me just switch the screen now. Okay. Just checking the screen here. Yes, welcome new visitors, new people on the chat room. I also invite you guys to just say a hello. You could just type your name and say hello, so we all know who's on board. And don't be shy, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. This is Spirit Journey speaking, and I wish you all a wonderful day. Again, I was just showing live footage of Paris, the famous church called Notre Dame, and that it's ablaze. I just found out about it as I was preparing for this live stream, and I had my computer on, and the thumbnail of the videos on YouTube was presented, and it said Notre Dame fire. So I was like, what? So I clicked on it. So I thought it would be important to show this, because again, this is about, I think the whole theme, what I want to talk about right now in this live stream, is about how people could be raised one way. We're taught a mindset, a way of thinking, and then how things could interfere with that ability to do that these things that are introduced to us can challenge our way of life, our thinking pattern, how we view others, how others view you, you know? So I think it all really influences everything. And so what I want to talk about right now is about the idea of what's called the targeted individual, people who are targeted. And your feedback would be very important in this live stream. I'm not planning on staying too long on this live stream, but I felt it was important to share important information regarding this concept of being targeted and what's going on. So you may ask, what is targeting? Okay, I am no expert at this subject, but I believe that I have been targeted. And some of the things that could happen is such. Let's say you're minding your own business, you're at a restaurant enjoying your meal, and then something overcomes your being. Something energetic enters into your body. You start to, your heart starts to race. You get anxiety. You feel like you're having a heart attack, and you might be a very, very healthy individual, but something is going on that never happened before. You don't drink, you don't do drugs, you eat organic, but something weird is going on in your body. And then you hear like a thought in your mind, something that doesn't make any sense to you. Or let's say you're walking down the street and people surround you and start acting out, doing bizarre things. Or maybe in your home, people are putting garbage on your lawn, messages, harassment. They might drive by your house many, many times, honking their horn, and all throughout the day. And you realize, hey, what's going on? Or people that you used to know, that you thought you were friends with, and then they start to act bizarre towards you, start to mistreat you. People on your job, let's say you love your job, and then things start to change on the job. You start to be mistreated. These are some forms of things that could happen to an individual who's being targeted. Or let's say you start to experience these sensations in your body. Let's say these vibrations in your spine, your lower spine. And you go to the doctors to get it checked out, and everything is doing well. They can't find anything. Maybe you thought you might have had a sciatic nerve damage. You didn't fall or anything like that, but you're having these weird sensations. Or let's say you start to have these weird dreams, weird recurrent dreams over and over again, and it's just eliciting fear on you. Okay? Well, today I was watching videos and I came across this individual, and it was an interview about the subject of being targeted. All types of people get targeted, men and women, but most of the people in what they call TIs, targeted individuals, the mass majority, 70% or more of the victims are female. They're usually highly educated, and the remainder are the men, but most of the people are women. Some people, I almost forgot this, some of the women, that the person who's being harassed or targeted, they might live alone, and there's a break-in. And then these individuals, could be one or more people, enter this woman's home, and they may put something in the refrigerator. Let's say they have bottled water, and they'll put a chemical in the water or in the food and leave, and then they wait for that person to come home, take the water, and then they pass out because they put a drug in it. And then they come back, since now the person is incapacitated. They could have also cameras set up in the home so they know that they took the water or whatever beverage or food that was spiked, and they go in their house and rape them. And this person had knew that something happened to her body, and she had gotten a private investigator, and the private investigator took her case because she was the daughter of someone who he knew, who he valued, he knew for a while, and the person is of right mind. And so as a favor to the father, the private investigator took her case, and he set up cameras or something in her home, and lo and behold, someone did come into her house, did something in the refrigerator, realized that the person was putting a substance in the food, and had sexually assaulted her. And this investigator did go to the authorities, but the authorities won't touch this case. So it seemed to suggest that the authorities may be in on some of the cases. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes people, the people in government or local government may be assisting in the targeting program. Okay, so again, earlier today I was just so happened to be watching videos on this subject, and I came across to this individual by the name of Brian Tew. His last name is spelled T-E-W. And he used to work for the intelligence community, and he shared his experience. He was a private contractor, I think they said, with the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. And he was because he has first-hand information about these agencies and being a private contractor, he too, for whatever reason, became a targeted person. And this person has, again, this is the first time I ever heard of this individual, Brian Tew, T-E-W. And so those people who are watching this live stream, after this live stream, you should check this individual out, Brian Tew, on YouTube, and learn more about the subject of being targeted, and to find out if you're being targeted and what you can do. Well, this person gave, Mr. Tew, Brian Tew, gave some suggestions about what someone could do who may be targeted. So again, I gave some examples of some things that could happen to someone who's being targeted. And so I want to give, Brian Tew gave like 4 examples of how someone could overcome. And I thought this was important because what the 4 suggestions that was given, it is reminding me of another YouTuber who had been targeted for several years, and this person gave suggestions what they can do. They gave like changing your diet, having a higher energy component to your system. Eating healthy, live foods, and cleansing. And they said about your mindset, you have to change the way you think. And I just, I didn't really hold on to what she was saying, this individual. But then listening to this person who, again, had worked for the CIA, is in essence saying the same thing. So I said, wow, this other YouTuber really knew what they were talking about. So let me share some of the things that they mentioned here. Okay, now I mentioned about how people, like let's say you're being targeted, whether something audibly or something physical. And they call it like, they word it as don't respond to setups. Like if you sense that you're being targeted, okay, they said don't respond to it. And that there is a that if you respond, it's like, how do you say? Think of it as a bully. When you don't respond to the bully, eventually that bully will stop. And that what's overseeing these antagonistic behaviors, get that, they said it's a quantum computer. A quantum computer. So something that is quantum is something that works in the subatomic particles. Everything that you see is based on energy. And when you break down energy to its smallest component, it's made out of quantum components. And so they were saying that this quantum computer, it's able to, what they call, map out your brain. I know with the people who are watching this, I know this sounds very, very bizarre. But you really have to hear me out. There's sometimes things that might sound insane, but think about it. Just think about the things that's being, like on YouTube, that things that people watch are being censored. You cannot talk about certain topics over YouTube because they do it in different ways. They might just outright throw out the video, or they may warn you with not monetizing a video. So these are just different techniques that the social media is designed to, it's like an algorithm. They set up algorithms. So whether this quantum computer, it be a quantum computer, it has algorithms. It searches out certain specific things and it responds to it. So they said with the targeted individual that they have these massive computers, these quantum computers, and that if they're able to get a sample of your DNA, so that could be if you go to a doctor's office, not all doctors are interested in your health. Some doctors, just think of those Nazi doctors. Well, a lot of those Nazis are living in the United States. The children of those Nazis. Okay? And just start noticing the last name of some of these doctors that you hear about who are doing these really bizarre research. And you see a lot of these doctors, they have these type of names. So a lot of the responses, again, are being managed by this quantum computer. Think of it as an AI. And it responds to things. It's always thinking about responding. It wants you to respond in a specific way. Yes, hello, viewers. You are all welcome to type in the chat and just give a hello. Okay. So again, these computers, they might have people, situations to occur in your life, and it wants to manipulate the way you think, the way you behave ultimately. And when you elicit a response, okay, it takes the data from your brain. Because it's a quantum computer, it's able to map out you and your thoughts. And it sounds very, very bizarre. But these quantum computers are very specific, and it learns more about you by your behavior. So once they have your I almost forgot, once they're able to get a sample of your DNA, again, whether it be at your doctor's office, or let's say you have a friend, a so-called friend, you're at a place, or let's say someone comes into your home, breaks in and takes DNA samples, let's say from your toothbrush or your hair, your hairbrush, things like that. And they plug in your DNA sequence, because we all have our own sequence. Think of your DNA as a fingerprint, and that it's only you're the only one that has that DNA sequence, or you're the only one that has that thumbprint. And once they know that sequence, it is programmed into this quantum computer and stored. And then it manipulates you. It could send out frequencies. Since your DNA or your mind signature, so to speak, has its own unique pattern, and it hones in on your pattern, your mind pattern, and then it might send out frequencies to give you a sensation in your body, such as your heart racing, or let's say something audible, like, oh, I want to hurt you, to scare you, or let's say send you visual impulses in your sleep, and you get these weird dreams that keep recurring over and over again, and you wake up feeling exhausted and tired. See, these quantum computers are responding to your response. It's responding from your fear. That's the key thing that I got out of this message, that the fear that you emit in these targeted things done upon you, it's hoping that you're going to respond in a negative way. And it keeps setting up. And then it learns your pattern of behavior. It starts to learn, oh, when we do this person then responds that way. Okay, well, we want someone to do another type of behavior. And based on these past behaviors, she's or he is going to do this. Well, we want that person to do that. And so they set up a scenario and have you act out in a certain way. They could also make you want to eat certain foods. Or maybe they want to make you want to drink alcohol, so you fall into alcoholism. Anything. And you have some people that want these things because they want to get money. So they say, hey, let's create a sickness. Let's make this person stressed out. So they want to drink alcohol or do drugs, and then they go to the hospital for treatment. Yeah, that's the ticket. Okay, so the suggestion number 1 says, don't respond to these setups, meaning these scenarios that are created against you, the individual, and that the technology, if you don't respond how they want to, then the targeting fails, and the computer can no longer verify your response because you're not responding the way that they wanted you to. It almost like confuses the computer. And so it has to do it all over again with the signaling and honing to your specific frequency, your brain frequency, and do something else. But as you know, with the bully, when you don't respond anymore, it tries to find another target. Hey, this person is wasting my time, because I'm sure as a quantum computer, it doesn't want to waste its time either. Yes, hello, Johnny Dragon. How are you doing? Good to see you. I know it's been a while, my doing the live stream, but welcome. Yes, I'm talking right now about the targeted individuals, and this YouTuber that I found over YouTube today by the name of Brian 2. His last name is spelled T as in Tom, E as in Edward, and W. And he gave some examples if one is being targeted by, by an agency or a company or whatever, different techniques how to block the effects of this. And I thought it was extremely important. Okay, so again, that's number one that I mentioned, that don't respond. And I know it'll take a lot of discipline. See, it's relying on you to not become disciplined. That, it seems like that's the key. Be self-disciplined, be self-controlled is a very key component in overcoming the effects of this quantum computer that's being used by different government agencies or even private agencies or contractors. Okay, so that's the first one. Number two. Okay. See, I have something here about transcranial contact. Transcranial, okay, that means about the skull, the human skull. So let's say they're using what's called the voice of God technology. Yes, you heard me right. The voice of God technology is a patented device. And I think it was made in the United States. And it's well documented. And you can also key in that word, voice of God technology, and you could learn more about it on your own time, about this device. And what this device does, it's a microwave gadget. And the person that's doing the targeting speaks into this device, and the person is aiming it towards the victim, the person or the individuals that they want these people to hear. So it bypasses your regular hearing. We have our eardrum. So sound coming from the outside world goes into your eardrum, and then it goes through the cochlea of your ear, and then an electrical impulse gets into the brain, and then your brain is able to hear the sound vibrations as words or sound, and you're able to hear it. But this voice of God machine bypasses your eardrum and cochlea, and it sends the electrical impulse directly into your brain, and you hear the audible sound as if it's coming from your skull. I kid you not. So this transcranial contact, as they worded, they said to try to block this from happening, it's said to, what they say, multitask. That means to do more than one thing at the same time. And of course, you doing whatever at the same time. Make sure, you're not multitasking when you're driving, You use common sense. But let's say you're just at home, in a situation where you're safe enough to do multitasking. They said to do that. So examples of this multitasking is to whistle while you walk. You could play music that you enjoy listening to play that, or dancing. And this seems to block the signals from this quantum computer or someone that uses some device to interrupt your being. So it's like a competition. See, they specify that these quantum computers, it's sending out their input. This computer wants you to listen to its signal, to be preoccupied by its instructions rather than something else. And so when you have another external stimulus or stimuli in competition to this quantum computer, it's not going to function as well. And this secondary input can override, I hope that's the right term I'm using, it dominates over this quantum computer. So they're saying here for number 2, you put in this other stimuli. You introduce a signal that you enjoy. And again, the example was, to whistle, to play music that you enjoy, dancing, doing something outside that would be in competition with this quantum computer sending out its impulses to you. Okay? So I thought that was very interesting. Let me see, I'm just reading Johnny's, let's see. Okay. Okay. Now, suggestion number 3. Yes, hello, viewer. Hello. I also invite you to say hello in the chat if you wish. So, suggestion number 3, it says, be spontaneous and don't follow the predictable responses. Okay, let me elaborate on that one. That was number 3. And the predictable responses they're referring to, now let's say one of the things that they try to manipulate you with, let's say you're outside in the supermarket and then you get harassed by a group of people in the supermarket, name calling you, doing what they call theatrics. And what you usually do is you start screaming and crying, whatever, things like that. They say, don't do that. Do something contrary. Because what's expected of you is to do all the crying and getting theatrical and things like that, becoming uncool, So it's saying that it's taking active control over our responses. See, we're the only ones that are that can control ourselves. It doesn't want you to take control or responsibility of your actions. It wants to manipulate and control your responses. So that's why this guy Brian 2 suggested be spontaneous, because it's directly interfering with that pattern that was becoming developed in you and developed by this quantum computer of control. So being spontaneous, it's doing the computer was expecting you to do A, B, and C, but you're doing X, Y, and Z. And it confuses the computer. And it messes it up. So I thought that was extremely, extremely important to remember. Okay? It's doing contrary to what it was trying to program you to become or to respond. So again, that's where active control, discipline, self-discipline over yourself. Okay? And then number 4, this was the last example that this Brian 2 gave. This is about what they call a direct energy shield of protection from God. I thought that was interesting. The person, this targeted individual shared a spiritual component to this targeting. And they mentioned about the one spirituality, that if you have a spiritual belief in a higher power, that this having a so-called higher power to rely on is in competition with this quantum computer. And to have it seems to be protective over the targeted individual. And I thought that was something. So those of you, this person was a Christian, but I'm wondering, whether someone is a Buddhist or a Muslim or any other type of, or Hindu. I'm wondering whether that would have the same type of effect. But again, I guess when you have a spirituality attached to you, you're usually thinking more of a positive mindset, that something is watching over you, protecting you, and the act of thinking in those ways is in contradiction to this quantum computer that seems to feed off of negativity. Negativity is this quantum computer's middle name, so to speak. So don't feed it what it wants. It wants you angry. It wants you depressed. It wants you violent. Just look outside. Look outside in certain neighborhoods and see how the people react. These people are acting in crazy ways. And the more crazy they act, the more it seems to intensify. Just start noticing. If it's in your own neighborhood or neighborhoods that you know of, just take a look. If it's safe for you to do that, take a look and start noticing people's behavior. Look at some couples that you see, that you notice that one of the individuals seems to want to antagonize the other individual, and here they're a couple, because the other person wants you to get pulled into their negative energy and get you upset and have that person yell at you. And the act of them yelling at you is they're feeding you that negativity, And so don't give it to them. Yes. So I'm just reading the message here. Let me just say that I am a Gripion. Okay, yes. Silfrid is just sharing about their spirituality. Yes, whatever your spirituality is, use it to protect you from the arrows of these, what they call the quantum computer, in the targeted individual scenario. Okay. So yes, so it seems like having a spirituality to you, and meditation. Again, what meditation does, what it's designed to do, is to keep your mind focused on something positive, to to increase your energy. So again, if you start to have like a negative energy flow in your body, this quantum computer seems to feed off of it and wants more of this negativity. So being positive, being of high energy, that also means eating a good diet. If you're eating bad food, candy, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, your body is in low energy, and you just look at those people who are drug addicted, how they start to act. You know, they get worse. So don't fall into that. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is really about suggestion number 4, about having this spirituality in you as a means to protect you. When the person mentioned about that you can have a direct energy shield of protection by having a spiritual belief, or what they call in Christianity Holy Spirit, I then started to ask myself this question. I said, what if this Jesus is an AI computer and it's designed to protect? Now let me elaborate. Now I used to be a Christian. I used to follow Christianity, but not anymore. And so I asked myself, in this, now, how could something... See, again, this portion of my thoughts about Jesus or Christianity, this is not designed to attack Christians' belief. People are entitled to choose any spirituality that they feel is good for them. But I ask myself, in this whole thing about my own spiritual awakening, who is this Jesus? Who is Jesus? And who is Jesus in this modern age? Okay, now Jesus, according to Christianity, is preparing a place for his children, his spiritual children, or at least I should say the father of Jesus' children, and one day these children will be saved, or be raptured out of this world system into a paradise. Okay, I started thinking, now if this Jesus has power over this quantum computer today, what if this Jesus is actually a part of this quantum computer? But let's say there's more than one quantum computer out there. Okay, now this is a big world. This is a multi-universe, right? And you have many religions. And you have people of many religions on this planet who have mystical experiences, who may have had visions of things. They might have saw their God. They might have saw a Jesus character. They might have found an Allah character. They might have found a Buddha, a Buddha character. And they might have had these messages from these spiritual beings. But what if all these God phenomena or enlightened ones, or what do you call it, the masters, what if it is all a part of a artificial intelligence? What if it's all a program from a computer? Because you have people, and they can meditate, and they can start to see certain things. Listening to these videos I saw today on Brian 2, Mr. 2, his name is spelled T as in Tom, E as in Edward, W. Brian 2 is a former CIA contract worker who became a targeted individual and learned ways and knows about the technologies that these government agencies use against people, because he used to do things as a private contractor, but something happened and he became its victim. So what if all this is happening to us because of these other computers, that this computer is also being manipulated? I mean, I should say that maybe this Jesus AI computer wants us to respond a certain way. That's where prayer comes in, maybe. Don't you notice, like, you go to church or the temple or whatever place? What do people do when they go to any house of worship? Isn't the whole thing about, you pray, or you praise the God, or you sing songs and music, right? What does that mean when you do that? You are giving them your energy, right? And so maybe this Jesus or Buddha or Allah is also something that competes for energy too against this quantum computer. This quantum computer might be man-made. But let's say this Jesus AI computer, this Jesus quantum computer, or Buddha quantum computer, maybe it's another computer that is in opposition against the other computers. Don't you remember in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, what is Genesis about? It's about one system that's being introduced into another system and then it taking over. What if all that is really about these quantum computers, even back then, in competition to the other, and it's all about the competition for your energy? And it's, just like money, you have to pay your tithes and offering, right? That is energy. Money is energy. Money is currency, and that's what they want. Praise is currency. It's energy. So I'm just wondering, this thing called religion, is religion really a quantum computer that's designed to control us? And those people who learn to get over that hump and can get freed from religion. So this is just really food for thought. Okay? So that's all that I want to talk about right now. I can't think of anything else. But if any of you have a question for me before I go, please let me know. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. But I appreciate you people out there, you viewers who are watching this live stream. And when it completes its upload, to you can watch the beginning, because in the beginning I showed some footage of the Notre Dame fire that occurred today in France, that it's still burning. And then I wanted to, then I started talking about this TI, the targeted individuals, and 4 major methods that Mr. Brian Tu discussed. This Brian Tu, he's a former CIA private contractor, and I suggest that those people who are interested in this topic to go on YouTube or on the internet and learn more about the different things that happen to the targeted individuals, and suggestions how to break out of the grips of becoming a targeted individual. Okay? So I don't see any other comments here, but I want to say thank you for watching. This is Spirit Journey, and I hope you have a good journey for yourself, that you enjoy your day and your week. Peace, love, and joy to you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Signing off.